Hi team, hello Pathfinders, Spectrum, Oswestry, Woolly, CLV, whoever we are, however we're watching, I hope we're doing okay. We're still looking at John chapter 11 this week, and we've seen so far that Jesus gives life. The proof of that is that Jesus gives life to one of his friends who was dead, Lazarus. Do you remember how we saw him shuffling out of the tomb, still covered in those grave clothes? We've also seen that Jesus gives eternal life right now. So the proof of that is in who Jesus is. He says in verse 25, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live. So whoever believes in Jesus has life. If we believe in Jesus, we have life. Real, true, full life. Eternal life that starts now and lasts forever. A life that lasts even after death. Now, isn't that the best news we could be hearing? If we believe in Jesus, who he is and what he can do, we have eternal life for ourselves. Now, we're going to be seeing this time why Jesus does all this. Why does Jesus raise Lazarus from the dead? Now, we might think that that's really obvious. Jesus raises Lazarus because he loves him and because Lazarus needs life. And those are good reasons, they're true, but they're not actually the real reason that Jesus tells us. Jesus tells his disciples that the reason he gives Lazarus life again is so that he would get the glory. We may have seen before that when a football team wins a tournament, a trophy, they sometimes go through their town on an open top bus and all the crowds come and to see the team in all their glory, and the team raises the trophy and everyone cheers. And John chapter 11 is a little bit like an open top bus moment where Jesus gets all the glory. We know that because Jesus tells his disciples. So we're going to zoom in on the scene where that happens. It's before Lazarus has died. It's when Jesus is still out of town and he's just heard that Lazarus is ill. And this is what Jesus he says in verse 4. This illness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Jesus knows he will give Lazarus life. That's why he says it won't end in death. But he also knows that when he gives Lazarus life, it will give him glory. We may not have thought of it like this before, but the reason Jesus gives life, the reason that is most important to Jesus, is that he would get the glory and that we would recognise that he is glorious. The glory of who he is and the glory of what he can do. That Jesus is God's glorious Son, God himself revealed to us, and that Jesus himself can give us glorious new life. So why should we believe in Jesus? Well, because Jesus is glorious. He's proven to us that he really is God. And he's proven to us that he really can give us life. So Jesus is more worthy of our attention, our trust, our praise than anyone else. There is no one more glorious than him. Jesus is God himself who gives out life himself. Now, before we finish, we might be thinking, why should I put my trust in someone who is out to get their own glory? Isn't that a bit selfish? Well, there are two things to remember. The first is Jesus deserves the glory. He is God himself. The second thing to remember is that what gives Jesus glory is actually him giving us life. So Jesus' glory and our good, they're tied together. What gives Jesus glory is him giving us life. So if we want Jesus to get the glory that he deserves, if we want to receive the eternal life that he's offering us, we should believe in him. Jesus is glorious. That's why we should believe and trust in him. Thanks team. Have a good day. Don't forget to like these videos if you've watched them and you've enjoyed them. See you next time.